What happens when Britain's most beloved silent comedian lands in America? Well, let me tell you, chaos, confusion, and comedy gold. Mr. Bean's first trip to America created such mayhem that it made international headlines. From accidentally shutting down airport security to becoming an overnight Times Square sensation, this British icon proved that America definitely wasn't ready for his unique brand of humor. But here's the most shocking part. Mr. Bean accidentally caused a citywide traffic jam in Manhattan, and the mayor had to personally intervene. How? Stay tuned because what happened next will blow your mind. Before we dive into this hilarious disaster, if you love comedy content, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel because this is automated content and I bring you daily entertainment guaranteed. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss our funny videos. Let's get started with Mr. Bean's American adventure. Scene 1. JFK Airport, New York. Mr. Bean steps off the plane and immediately creates his first American disaster. At immigration, the officer asks, "Purpose of your visit, sir?" Mr. Bean responds with his classic confused facial expressions. No words, just pure Bean magic. The officer, clearly not familiar with British comedy, repeats, "Sir, I need a verbal response." Mr. Bean pulls out his passport, upside down, naturally. Next stop, security screening. This is where things get really interesting. The metal detector starts beeping like crazy when Mr. Bean walks through. Security asks him to empty his pockets, and what comes out is absolutely ridiculous. A rubber duck, squeaky toy, half a sandwich wrapped in yesterday's newspaper, his famous teddy bear, which he refuses to let go, a broken umbrella that's held together with string, and a live hamster in a tiny travel cage. The security guard freaks out, "Sir, no live animals allowed." But Mr. Bean is confused because he thought it was just another teddy bear that happened to move. The X-ray machine reveals even more mysteries in his luggage. A rubber chicken, why? Only Bean knows. 50 rubber bands tied together in one long chain. One single shoe, where's the other one? A bag of actual beans, the food, not the person. And a handwritten note that says Bean's emergency survival kit. The security chief calls for backup. "We have a code yellow situation here." Meanwhile, Mr. Bean discovers the automatic hand sanitizer dispenser. He becomes fascinated and keeps pressing it until the entire dispenser is empty, creating a small puddle on the floor. Other passengers are starting to stare. Some are laughing, others look genuinely concerned about this strange British man. But here's the kicker. Mr. Bean's teddy bear is actually a mechanical toy that can walk around. When security sees it moving on the X-ray screen, they think it's some kind of suspicious device and call the bomb squad. 20 minutes later, half the airport security team is gathered around one small walking teddy bear, while Mr. Bean tries to explain through gestures that it's just his favorite toy. The final result? A 3-hour flight delay, confused American passengers, and Mr. Bean's first taste of American bureaucracy. One passenger tweeted, "British comedian just shut down JFK security with a walking teddy bear. Welcome to America, I guess." Next stop, the Grand Plaza Hotel in Manhattan. If you thought the airport was chaotic, wait until you see what happens here. Mr. Bean approaches the reception desk with his suitcase held together by duct tape and what appears to be a bungee cord. The receptionist, with her professional American smile, says, "Welcome to Grand Plaza Hotel. How may I assist you today?" Mr. Bean hands over his reservation confirmation, but it's completely crumpled and has coffee stains all over it. The receptionist squints at it. "I'm sorry, sir. I can't quite make this out." Mr. Bean's solution? He licks the paper to clean off the coffee stains. The American receptionist's face shows pure horror. After finally deciphering his reservation, she hands him an electronic key card. Now, electronic key cards are common everywhere, but Mr. Bean has never seen one quite like this. First, he tries tapping it on the door like he's knocking. Then he attempts to insert it upside down into the card slot. Finally, he swipes it across his forehead, thinking it might be some kind of facial recognition system. The elevator presents its own challenges. Mr. Bean gets in and sees all the buttons. In his typical fashion, he presses every single one. The elevator stops at every floor. 4th floor. A businessman gets on, looking annoyed that the elevator keeps stopping. 7th floor. An elderly lady joins them, and Mr. Bean politely introduces his teddy bear to her. 12th floor. Hotel staff member realizes this is the guest who's been causing all the confusion. When he finally reaches his floor, Mr. Bean uses the key card to open what he thinks is his room. Plot twist. It's the wrong room. Inside, an American family is having breakfast. The father jumps up, "Honey, there's a stranger in our room." Mr. Bean realizes his mistake and starts backing away apologetically, but he trips over the breakfast cart and lands face first in their pancakes, orange juice, and scrambled eggs. The hotel manager gets called. "Sir, we have what I can only describe as a unique situation." Security footage of the incident goes viral on social media within hours. British tourist destroys American family breakfast. You won't believe what happens next. When he finally gets to his actual room, Mr. Bean faces a new challenge: the American shower system. The hot and cold controls are opposite to what is used to in Britain. For 30 minutes, he's stuck in the bathroom alternating between scalding hot and freezing cold water, while neighbors complain about the screaming coming from his room. The hotel staff holds an emergency meeting. How exactly do we handle guests who don't speak but somehow create maximum chaos wherever they go? Time for Mr. Bean to experience American fast food culture. He walks into McDonald's hungry and ready to try authentic American cuisine. The teenage cashier greets him with typical American enthusiasm. "Hi there. Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get started for you today?" Mr. Bean stares at the menu board above the counter. American McDonald's has over 50 different items, compared to the simple British menus he's used to. He's completely overwhelmed. He starts pointing randomly at pictures on the menu. The cashier tries to follow. "So you want a Big Mac, McFlurry, apple pie, 20-piece chicken nuggets, and a Diet Coke?" Mr. Bean nods enthusiastically, not realizing he's just ordered enough food for 3 people. But then comes the size confusion. "What size drink would you like, sir?" The options: small, medium, large, and super size. Here's the culture shock: American small is the same size as British large. Mr. Bean gestures for small with his fingers, but the cashier interprets it as super size. When his order is ready, the tray is so loaded with food that Mr. Bean can barely carry it. He tries to balance everything but keeps dropping items on his way to find a seat. At his table, he discovers another American innovation: self-service ketchup dispensers. Mr. Bean has never seen anything like this. He thinks it's some kind of free tomato soup. He fills an entire bowl with ketchup before other customers start staring and pointing. Next challenge: unwrapping the Big Mac. American burger packaging is like solving a puzzle for Mr. Bean. Layer after layer of paper, cardboard, and tissue wrapping. Meanwhile, kids at nearby tables are watching this live entertainment show. One kid asks his mom, "Why is that man playing with his food?" The mother whispers, "Don't stare, honey. He's figuring things out." Mr. Bean takes his first bite of the Big Mac and his facial expression is priceless. American fast food flavors are completely different from British food, much saltier, more processed, and loaded with unfamiliar spices. But the real disaster is yet to come. The ice cream machine, which is usually broken at every McDonald's, happens to be working today. Mr. Bean orders a McFlurry, but when the employee operates the machine, the lever gets stuck. Ice cream starts flowing continuously, onto the counter, the floor, and all over Mr. Bean. The staff panics. "Someone turn off the machine." Mr. Bean tries to help by catching the ice cream with his hands, but this only makes things worse. The manager rushes over. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Mr. Bean is confused because he hasn't finished his meal yet. The final scene: Mr. Bean exits McDonald's completely covered in vanilla ice cream, still carrying his teddy bear, waving goodbye to shocked American customers. The drive-through speaker announces, "Attention customers, we are temporarily closed for extensive cleanup." Local news headline later that day: British tourist breaks McDonald's ice cream machine. Staff says it was already broken anyway. Now we get to the incident that made national news. Mr. Bean versus American traffic systems. Standing at a busy Manhattan intersection, Mr. Bean faces his biggest challenge yet, crossing the street American style. In Britain, pedestrian crossings work differently. Different button systems, different light patterns, different timing. American system, walk signal and don't walk signal with countdown timers. Mr. Bean sees the green light and thinks green means go, but that green light is for cars, not pedestrians. He steps into traffic and immediately cars start honking and swerving. American drivers are shouting, "Dude, what are you doing?" Mr. Bean quickly realizes his mistake and runs back to the sidewalk, thoroughly embarrassed. Second attempt, he waits for the proper pedestrian signal. The walk sign appears and he starts crossing. But here's the problem. He walks at his usual leisurely British pace. American pedestrians walk fast, especially in New York. The timer counts down. 10, 9, 8. Mr. Bean is only halfway across the street when it hits 3, 2, 1. Beep, beep. The light changes and he's stranded in the middle of the intersection. In panic mode, he starts running but in the wrong direction. A traffic cop approaches. "Sir, you cannot just wander around in the middle of the street." Mr. Bean tries explaining through gestures that he's confused about the American system. The officer thinks Mr. Bean might be hearing impaired and starts using exaggerated hand signals to communicate. Mr. Bean, thinking this is some kind of American greeting custom, copies all the officer's gestures exactly. A crowd starts gathering to watch this impromptu street performance. Tourists begin filming. British man learns American traffic rules the hard way. Third attempt, Mr. Bean carefully observes other pedestrians. He joins a group of Americans waiting at the corner. When the light changes, everyone starts walking and Mr. Bean follows. Everything seems to be going well until, halfway across the intersection, he stops dead in his tracks. Why? There's a street performer doing breakdancing right there in the crosswalk. Mr. Bean becomes fascinated and stands in the middle of the intersection watching the performance while traffic backs up in all directions. Cars are honking, pedestrians are walking around him, and the breakdancer realizes he has an audience member blocking traffic. "Yo man, you gotta move." The traffic cop from earlier recognizes Mr. Bean and comes to help. "Sir, let me personally escort you across the street." Mr. Bean is so grateful that he shakes the officer's hand enthusiastically and pulls out a small gift, British chocolate. The officer is touched by this gesture and realizes Mr. Bean isn't a troublemaker, just a confused tourist trying to navigate American culture. "Welcome to America, buddy. Traffic here is crazy even for those of us who live here." The incident makes local news. British tourist receives personal police escort for street crossing. Heartwarming story goes viral. Social media explodes with comments like, "This is the most wholesome traffic violation ever, and we need more tourists like Mr. Bean." American supermarkets are overwhelming even for Americans. So imagine Mr. Bean's experience walking into a massive Walmart for the first time. First culture shock, the sheer size. British supermarkets are modest compared to American megastores that are literally the size of aircraft hangars. Mr. Bean needs a shopping cart, but American carts are different, bigger wheels, cup holders, and automatic brake systems. He tries to push the cart, but it won't move because the brake is engaged. Confused, Mr. Bean thinks it's broken and tries to physically lift the entire cart. A store employee helps. "Sir, you need to release the brake mechanism." Mr. Bean nods but has no idea how to do this. After a quick demonstration, the cart suddenly rolls freely. Too freely. It takes off across the store with Mr. Bean chasing behind it trying to catch up. Aisle 1. Cereal section. American cereal choices are absolutely mind-boggling. An entire wall dedicated to breakfast cereals with over 200 different varieties. In Britain, you might find 10 to 15 common brands. Here, there are cereals with names like Fruity Explosion Loops and Chocolate Thunder Crunch. Mr. Bean becomes overwhelmed and starts randomly selecting boxes based purely on the cartoon characters on the packaging. But here's where things get interesting. He opens a box to taste test the cereal right there in the aisle. Store policy violation. An employee approaches. "Sir, You cannot open products before purchasing them. Mr. Bean is genuinely confused. In his mind, how can you know if you like something without trying it first? Aisle 5. Frozen food section. The frozen food variety in America is absolutely insane. The frozen pizza section alone is 50 feet long. Mr. Bean is looking for simple frozen peas and finds 25 different brands with labels like organic, non-GMO, farm fresh, and steam-in bag. He opens a freezer door to check the temperature and the door automatically closes on his hand, trapping it inside. Other shoppers rush to help. Pull your hand out, sir. Mr. Bean is panicking with his classic facial expressions while his hand is going numb from the cold. Checkout counter adventure. Self-checkout machines in America are high-tech compared to what Mr. Bean is used to. The scanner won't read some items, and the machine keeps saying, "Please place the item in the bagging area." He places the item down. Then the machine says, "Unexpected item in bagging area." This creates a confusion loop. Remove item. Please place item back. Place item. Unexpected item detected. A store employee has to rescue him. "Let me help you with that, sir." His shopping cart contains the most random mixture of items. British tea, from the international section. 5 different American cereal boxes. 3 frozen pizzas with flavors he can't pronounce. Ice cream in a flavor called birthday cake cookie dough surprise. Bananas, the only item he actually recognizes. Total bill, $127.43. Mr. Bean tries to pay with British pounds. "Sorry, sir. US dollars only." He pulls out his credit card, but the payment system is different. British chip and pin versus American swipe methods cause more confusion. After payment, the receipt is literally 2 feet long. American receipts include coupons, surveys, and advertisements. Bag packing becomes another cultural lesson. American paper bags versus British plastic bags, and he packs everything wrong. Heavy items on top, delicate items on the bottom. The bags start tearing and items fall everywhere. Exit drama. The automatic doors confuse him because sensor-based doors weren't common in Britain at the time. He approaches, doors open, he stops in surprise. Backs away, doors close. Approaches again, doors open. He thinks it's magic. Security guard eventually explains, "Sir, they're just motion sensors." Final scene. Mr. Bean exits with an overloaded cart, half his items falling out, receipt blowing in the wind, but wearing a huge smile because he's just experienced American consumer culture in all its overwhelming glory. For dinner, Mr. Bean decides to try upscale American dining at a restaurant called the Golden Fork. The hostess greets him, "Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation?" Mr. Bean gives her a blank stare and frantically searches through his British phrase book for the word reservation. Meanwhile, a line of hungry Americans forms behind him. He finally gestures for table for one by holding up his index finger. "Right this way, sir." The menu arrives and it's 15 pages long. British pub menus are typically 2 to 3 pages maximum. Categories include appetizers, soups, salads, entries, sides, desserts, and an entire section just for different types of bread. The waiter approaches, "Can I start you gentlemen with something to drink?" Mr. Bean points at water thinking it's a simple choice. Waiter responds, "Still, sparkling, tap, filtered, or premium spring water." In Britain, water is just water. Mr. Bean is completely confused by having to specify exactly what type of H2O he wants to consume. Food ordering becomes a nightmare. Mr. Bean points at a picture, but the description contains terms he's never heard before. Grass-fed beef tenderloin with truffle aioli, served over quinoa pilaf with seasonal roasted vegetables and a red wine reduction. The British equivalent would be beef with sauce and vegetables. When the waiter returns, Mr. Bean just points at something random and hopes for the best. "Excellent choice, sir. How would you like your steak prepared?" Options: rare, medium, medium well, well done. Mr. Bean has never had to specify cooking levels in such detail. British restaurants usually just ask cooked through. He panics and points randomly again. When his meal arrives, he faces another culture shock. American restaurant portion sizes are absolutely massive. The plate is 3 times larger than anything he'd get in Britain. Then comes the eating etiquette confusion. Mr. Bean uses the British style, fork in left hand, knife in right hand throughout the entire meal. Americans typically cut their food, then switch the fork to the right hand for eating. Other diners start staring at his unusual table manners. The condiment situation becomes overwhelming. The table has ketchup, mustard, hot sauce, ranch dressing, barbecue sauce, and something called steak sauce. British restaurants usually provide salt, pepper, and maybe HP sauce. Mr. Bean tries a different sauce with each bite, creating the most bizarre flavor combinations imaginable. When the bill arrives, he faces the biggest cultural shock of all, American tipping culture. The bill shows suggested tip amounts: 18%, 20%, 25%. In Britain, tipping 10% is considered generous and completely optional. Mr. Bean calculates the British way and leaves a $2 tip on a $45 meal. The waiter is polite but clearly disappointed. "Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful evening." Outside the restaurant, Mr. Bean overhears other customers talking. "That British guy left a terrible tip. Maybe he doesn't understand American tipping culture." Realizing his mistake, Mr. Bean rushes back inside. The waiter is surprised to see him return. Mr. Bean pulls out more money and hands it over with his most apologetic facial expressions. The waiter's face lights up. "Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to America." Another cultural lesson learned: American service industry workers depend on tips to make a living wage. This restaurant experience becomes a perfect example of how the same language doesn't mean the same culture. The grand finale of Mr. Bean's American adventure takes place in the most iconic location possible, Times Square, New York City. Emerging from the subway, Mr. Bean is immediately overwhelmed by the sensory assault of massive LED screens, street performers, crowds, and constant noise. Even London's busiest areas can't compare to the 24/7 carnival atmosphere of Times Square. First encounter: a Statue of Liberty costume performer. Mr. Bean becomes fascinated and starts copying the performer's poses. Tourists taking photos accidentally capture Mr. Bean photobombing every shot. The street performer appreciates the enthusiasm and hands Mr. Bean some props. Suddenly, Mr. Bean becomes an accidental co-performer. A crowd gathers thinking this is a planned comedy duo act. People start throwing money into the tip jar. Ladies and gentlemen, witness British comedy meets American street performance. Mr. Bean is confused about why people are throwing money but is enjoying the attention. Next disaster: interactive digital billboards. These massive screens have motion sensors that respond to movement. Mr. Bean waves at the screen, and the digital character waves back. His mind is completely blown. He thinks there's an actual person inside the screen. He starts having a full conversation with the billboard character. A crowd gathers to watch this one-man technology demonstration. British tourist discovers 21st century advertising. Social media explodes. #Mr. Bean in Times Square starts trending worldwide. Video clips go viral. Mr. Bean versus street performers. British man has conversation with billboard. Accidental comedy show in Times Square. News crews start arriving. This is Channel 7 News, live from Times Square, where a British tourist has created spontaneous street entertainment. Reporter attempts an interview. "Sir, can you tell our viewers about your experience in America?" Mr. Bean responds with his typical expressions and gestures. Reporter: "Fascinating. This is pure physical comedy at its finest." The situation escalates when police arrive, not because Mr. Bean is causing trouble, but because he's causing a traffic jam from the entertainment value. "Officer, sir, you're creating quite a scene here." Mr. Bean is genuinely confused because he thought he was just sightseeing. In a perfect Mr. Bean moment, he takes a theatrical bow like a professional performer. The crowd erupts in applause. The street performers invite him for a group photo, and Mr. Bean finally feels truly welcomed in America. As the sun sets over Manhattan, we see Mr. Bean walking away from Times Square with his teddy bear in one hand and a collection of American souvenirs in the other. Behind him, The street performers returned to their normal routines, but now they have a new story to tell customers. Remember that British guy who accidentally became a Times Square sensation? American tourists are posting online reviews. Best entertainment in Times Square, unexpected British comedy show. This guy made our New York vacation unforgettable. The final message is clear. Mr. Bean's American adventure proves that comedy is truly universal. Language barriers, cultural differences, and confusion can all be overcome with humor and genuine human connection. America wasn't ready for Mr. Bean, but in the end, they didn't just accept the chaos. They embraced it, celebrated it, and made it part of their own story. And there you have it, Mr. Bean's complete American adventure. From airport security chaos to becoming a Times Square sensation. Airport bomb squad called for a walking teddy bear. Hotel breakfast destruction that went viral. McDonald's ice cream machine permanently broken, again. Personal police escort for street crossing. Grocery store automatic door discovery. Restaurant tipping culture education. Accidental Times Square street performer career. Mr. Bean proved that physical comedy is the universal language. No words needed, just pure human expression and genuine reactions to new situations. Americans were initially confused, then frustrated, but ultimately charmed by this British visitor who turned everyday situations into comedy gold. Through innocent mistakes and genuine confusion, Mr. Bean became an accidental cultural ambassador. He showed Americans that differences can be entertaining rather than annoying. His adventures highlight how similar we all are when facing unfamiliar situations. We all get confused, make mistakes, and need help figuring things out. If this epic American adventure made you laugh, smash that like button. I guarantee this video will entertain your friends and family. Subscribe to this channel because this is automated content and I bring you daily funny, entertaining videos. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our comedy content. Comment below, which was Mr. Bean's funniest moment? Airport security meltdown or Times Square performance? Share this video on social media because comedy is always better when shared. Next video, Mr. Bean goes to Japan. Trust me, that cultural clash will be even more hilarious. Comment more international comedy if you want more Mr. Bean adventures around the world. Final thought. Comedy is the world's most beautiful language. Mr. Bean proved that laughter needs no visa, no translation, just an open heart and willingness to find joy in chaos. Keep laughing, keep sharing happiness. Like, subscribe, share, comment. See you in the next adventure.